Yeah, we are live on YouTube as well as on Zoom, sir. Good afternoon,
Okay.
participants. Welcome to the live session for the course Understanding Absurdist Drama by Professor Rahul Chaturvedi, sir. So please join on Zoom. And if your internet connectivity is bandwidth is less, then you can watch the event on YouTube and post your queries on the YouTube chat. Yes, sir. We can start, sir.
All right. All right. So thank you, Murliji, and welcome students to this 8 week long online course on understanding Absurdist drama. Uh, in fact, you might have been reading the listening to the lectures that we have had so far. You might have heard my lectures on some very prominent absurdist dramatists, such as Samuel Beckett, Eugene Ionesco, Harold Pinter, John Fosse, uh, Badal Sarkar, Tom Stoppard, Edward L.B. All right. So I'm hopeful that most of you might have understood uh, the meaning of the word absurd and also its relationship with existentialism. Uh, like Sam Tiwari has asked me, sir, can you please make a short summary video explaining the difference between existentialist philosophies of the major playwrights at the end of the course? It would be greatly helpful. Sam, in fact, what we have done in the process, in the last lecture that I have already made, I have tried to make a distinction between existentialist philosophy and the absurdist drama. What are the similarities between existentialism and the philosophy of the absurd? And what are the points of divergences also? However, I'll try to explain to you briefly here so that if you have any doubt, you can ask me now as well. So there are two words that you need to think about. One is existentialism. So the philosophy of existentialism is concerned with the idea of existence. In all philosophical traditions, whether you have Western philosophical traditions or Indian philosophical traditions, there is this question: who we are, why we are here, what is the purpose of our life, what is the goal of our life, whether our existence has any divine ramification or our existence is accidental. So these are the questions Sartre, Camus, and others, they tried to reflect upon what is the meaning of existence. All right. And of course, there were different answers for that. For example, Sartre, in his very famous essay, Existentialism is a Humanism, suggests that existence precedes essence, and that is the central philosophy of existentialism. What Sartre means by this, that to be born is the first and the primary thing. Like, for example, whatever your identity is, whether it is a gender identity, religious identity, national identity, that comes only after you are born. So becoming social, or becoming is a social process, becoming is a cultural process. All right. So philosophy of existentialism is concerned with the problems of existence, what it means to be born, and whether human beings, when they are born, whether they have a choice or they don't have a choice, whether human beings are free to live an independent life, they can have a life of freedom or they cannot have a life of freedom. Now, there are theist existentialists and there are atheist existentialists. Some argue that we have been created by God, but God has given us freedom to be in this world. Some argue that no, there is no freedom. In fact, because there is freedom, there is like sorry, I must correct myself, that there is freedom alone because there is no God who is governing our lives. So philosophers like Sartre, who who are existentialists, they talk about the problem of existence. Like Camus, on the other hand, would be more concerned with the philosophy of absurd. Now, absurd is an approach to understand the meaning of life. And basically, absurdists argue that life is meaningless. And because life is essentially meaningless, it is a possibility for human being to grant it any meaning that you want to grant it. So if there is no God who has already scripted your life, as a human being, you are free to make of your life whatever you want. All right. So you have to, Sam, I hope you know you understand the difference between existentialism and the absurd. And what I have done in the last video, I have tried to explain major philosophical arguments of almost all major playwrights which are useful for your studies. So at the end of that, you will find out. Now there are some more questions which I think Murli ji has shared from YouTube. Was this drama considered a part of avant-garde, or did it emerge as a distinct movement? What were the key overlaps and divergences? Very good question. In fact, you see, avant-garde drama, if you remember my opening lectures in the first week, I told you that avant-garde movement was a major literary movement in the first half of the 20th century, and I also referred to Dadaism, Surrealism, and other expressionism, and there were other avant-garde movements. Now, if you look at absurdist drama, there are certain tendencies of avant-garde drama which you can find out in the absurdist drama. For example, meaninglessness, which Dadaism promotes. Like you remember the very famous play by Tristram Jara, where he explains to you what is Dadaism. All right, basically da, and indicating meaninglessness. Something similar has been also discussed by absurdist playwrights. And you also remember that writers like Pinter were influenced uh, by Strindberg and others. So there are certain overlaps. All right. The point of divergence is that most uh, of the avant-garde dramatists are trying to find out the meaning of life, which most of the absurdist playwrights problematize. They argue that for a human being, it's very difficult to find out the meaning of life. Like, for example, if you ask me, or if I ask you, what is the meaning of your life? Of course, we can say, I want to become this, I want to become that. But existentially it's very difficult to define what is the real meaning of life. And therefore most of the absurdists playwright, they stage life without being bothered about the meaning of life, because they know that meaninglessness of life itself is the meaning of life. And unless we learn to celebrate that meaninglessness, we cannot understand the true nature of life. So there are certainly certain overlaps, and there are certainly some divergences. All right. And if you listen to the videos carefully, you will find out what are those points of overlaps and divergences. In fact, if you have any particular question in your mind, you can ask me further. Then we have another question. What are the key aspects of Beckett's dramaturgy that have had a lasting impact on subsequent playwrights and theatrical practice? Very important question. You would remember that I told you that Beckett's plays are plays of silence. Ah. Now, you would remember while I discussed the plays of Pinter with you, I introduced to you the idea of Pinteresque pause. So, how silence was used later by Pinter, following Beckett, as a theatrical device to foreground the tensions inherent in the play. That is one. If I do not know whether you have I don't think so. You have come to the last week of the online classes. You see, there is a very important playwright, John Fosse, who has been recently awarded Nobel Prize. Now, if you look at the of Fosse structurally and aesthetically influenced by Beckett. Even if you look at the name of the play that Fosse writes, which we have discussed in our module, Someone is Going to Come. Now, it directly alludes to Samuel Beckett's play, Waiting for Godot. So, for example, the use of pantomime is another very important theatrical device used by Beckett, that you can find out in the later playwrights also. So, and then the most important influence of Beckett was his contribution to the philosophy of language, whether words really communicate reality or words fail to express reality. For example, you have asked a question, you have certain impressions in your mind, I am responding to you. Like, it's never going to happen that I can fully, quote unquote, communicate what I intend to communicate. All right. So basically, Beckett wanted to indicate that words fail in representing reality. All right. Now, if you look at the plays of Fosse, or for that matter, even of Ionesco, all right, or there are other playwrights, they were also influenced by this philosophy of language that Beckett seems to propound or stage in his plays. All right. The problem of language to adequately communicate human experience or human emotions to others, and that's why human beings mostly fail to understand each other, even though human beings who have been living together for so many years, most of the time they fail to understand each other. Why? Because they try to understand each other through language, and that's why Beckett proposes aesthetics of silence. Sometimes, like what silence can do, that cannot be done by Beckett. All right. So Beckett had the lasting impact on the subsequent playwrights, and in the theatrical practice of the philosophers of the absurd. Then there is another very important question: how has Pinter's work been received and interpreted in India? Are there Indian playwrights or theater practitioners who have been influenced by his style or themes? I don't know whether you remember. You see, there are two things which I would like to tell you before I proceed. Uh, you see, Indian philosophical tradition is diverse. For example, if you look at the plays of Beckett, you will understand that life is meaningless, life is dukkha. All right. Now, this would certainly remind you what Gautam Buddha had said, that this world is a suffering. संसार दुख है, दुख का कारण है, एंड दुख निरोध हो सकता है और दुख निरोध का एक मार्ग है. These are the four noble truths of Buddha. The world is suffering. There can be cessation of suffering, and there is also a path for the cessation of suffering. But marg is only one marg prevalent in Indian philosophical tradition. So Buddha's marg was marg of karuna. Karuna because of dukkha, which is prevalent in prevalent in the world. But there is another marg which is called Ananda marg. All right. And if you look at several traditions of Sanatana, all right, or if you look at Vedic tradition, the core philosophy of Vedic tradition is Madhu. And Madhu here refers to Ananda. All right. And that's why the idea of meaninglessness of life is only a temporary realization in Indian philosophy. The Indian mind uh, would know that life is suffering, life can coexist with sorrow, but Indian mind would also try to find out the paths to eliminate that sorrow. Like, for example, Indian idea of kaivalya, mukti, nirvana. All right. What is all that? That all that refers to the cessation of suffering, liberation from suffering, both physical suffering and psychological suffering. And of course, this idea of mukti, kaivalya, nirvana refers to not only transcendence of the body and mind, it also refers to the transcendence of the world itself. Because uh, when you become mukta, when you become absolutely free, you become one with God. All right. Now, why I am referring to all these ideas, just to let you know that the impact of absurdist theatrical tradition in particular was very limited. So we have some playwrights like Badal Sarkar, whom like whom we have discussed in the eighth week of the module. Uh, its influence is limited. All right. So so there are Indian playwrights and theater practitioners who have been partially influenced by absurdist philosophical traditions and theatrical traditions, writers like Badal Sarkar. But the impact of absurdist philosophical tradition is not at the social level, like at the academic level. Like, for example, when we discuss Beckett or other absurdist playwright, we can bring in philosophical standpoints. But at the deeper level, people want to be happy and they know how to be happy. Even the social structure which you have in India is very similar to in the sense, like so there were so many people. You will not have time to be quote unquote sad, because there'll be so many people. They will ask you, why are you sad? You look transformed, you look changed. All right. So now what is happening, because of urbanization, because of modernity, and because of industrialization, consumerism, so on and so forth, social system is changing. There's no doubt about it. And maybe we are just 50 years behind the West. In 50 years of time, we are going to have the same problems which the West has now, because we are uncritically emulating the West. But so far, Indian philosophical system, even if Buddha believed in the idea of shunyata, all right, he also suggests you कि भाई दुख निवृत्ति हो सकती है. Like, for example, in Beckett, you will not find out that death is not. All right. So you are born, you are suffering, that is your fate. That will happen to you. But Buddha will suggest you the path to liberation, path to transformation, path without suffering. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why you will not find out you can say a very important key. All right. There will be moments. I live in Banaras. So in the midst of the city, on the ghat, we have crematorium. There are two crematoriums, Manikarnika Ghat and uh, Harishchandra Ghat. So you will, if you go there, you will find out dead bodies are burning. And then just beside the crematorium, even on the ghat itself, people are talking politics. They are eating something. So you see, like, on the one, like, you will encounter death and life simultaneously. All right. So we will encounter death, which is meaninglessness of life, and then what people are doing there as symptomatic of meaningfulness of life. So life is both meaningful and meaningless at the same time. That's what you have to understand. And like Camus says, like Sartre says, if life is meaningless, it is a freedom. You can make and grant whatever meaning you grant to your life. All right. So in a way, because that requires another course on for that. So you have to understand. All right. So it's not that you read the dramas which are absurdist in nature and you say there is no meaning of life, there is no value of life, there is no purpose of life, there is no goal of life, why I am living. No, that is not the goal. The goal is you understand that whatever you are doing is not so great as you project it to be. You don't consider that, like, for example, I have made this online lecture. All right. So even if you study, it's okay. Even if you don't study, it's okay. Because you see, my purpose in life is not to, it is not over with the lecture that I have prepared. All right. Like, for example, I'm speaking here, I do not know whether you are here or not. Maybe most like there are not more than 20 students. I think there are 20 students, 25 students who have enrolled. Maybe 2 3 present here, or some of you might be available on YouTube. I'm not sure whether these lectures will be seen by others in future or not. You see, why I'm not bothered about it? Because I have been assigned a duty, I have performed my duty. I am happy with what I have done. It has some significance. Can I, Murliji, am I audible? Because my
Yes, sir.
connection is
You're audible,
unstable.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, yes. So basically, like through my own example, I was trying to communicate that you have to understand that meaninglessness of life itself is meaningful. All right. So if God has not given you any meaning, if there is no transcendental meaning that you have been assigned to, you are free to make whatever meaning you want to grant to it. All right. So philosophy of the absurd is not a all right, it is a philosophy of recognition. You recognize the true nature of life. And what is the true nature of life? That you have to live. That's all. Like you are born, you are living, and you will die. That's all. Believe me, uh, there are more intelligent people who have been born before you. There will be more intelligent people who will be born after you. All right, but it's not. But it does not make you less intelligent. Why? Because you yourself have to understand, and you yourself have to progress in the path of life that life has offered you. Whatever little opportunities, great opportunities that you have to make optimum use of those opportunities that you have got. All right. And you are not an architect or painter or Fasse. All right. That's what they are trying to communicate to you. All right. That you understand its meaninglessness, and thereby you understand the purposelessness of life. You understand the purposelessness of life, and thereby you understand the purposefulness of life. All right.
Thank you, sir, for addressing those queries
So, do we
raised
have
by the.
some other questions?
I'll
Yes.
just check the YouTube, sir, whether any question is posted over there. One student is watching, Mr. Sam Tiwari, but he did not
Actually,
post.
Murliji, I'm in Shimla and my connection is pretty low.
Yeah, even my connection is having some issues, sir. Yeah. So what
Yes, yes,
is
yes,
here on Zoom itself, sir, Mr. Siddhi Datri Bharatwaj. Siddhi
yes.
Datri, can you unmute yourself and ask the doubts? If you have any doubts, you can feel free to ask.
No, I don't. I think she's not available. All
Yeah.
right. So, what I can do, I can maybe for 5 minutes, I can just sum up what we have done.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. You
Yes,
can
and then we can
sum up the
end
things.
the live session.
Right, sir.
So, basically, what we have to understand. So, this 2 week, sorry, 2 credit course, this 8 week online course on the Absurdist playwright was made with a view to make the students understand the philosophy of the absurd, poetics of the absurd, and theatrical aspects of the absurd. We had discussions on Samuel Beckett, Ionesco, Harold Pinter, John Zenne, Tom Stoppard, Edward Elby, Badal Sarkar, and John Fosse. So we began with Beckett, who in his plays like Waiting for Godot, Endgame, Crab's Last Tape, explores the philosophical ideas related to the absurd. Beckett seems to suggest that life that we have got is short, and it is also uncertain whether there is any God looking after us, whether is creator or not. So we cannot be certain whether there is a God or there is no God. He also indicated that because man's life is brief, its inevitable end is death. So death is the end of life. Now, if death is the end of life, and in between what we have got is nothing but moments of sorrow and moments of suffering. How suffering can be minimized? That was now for that Beckett suggests a cure. Beckett writes, if you remember my discussion, never neglect little things of life. That is solution Beckett offers. Because most of us look for greater moments of life. Like for us, the greater moments are we are born. That is a great day. Then the day we get like we pass our high school examination, or we get a job, or we get married, or our children are born, or our children are married. These are the greater moments of life. If we search for happiness in these greater moments, we are never going to be happy. So happiness has to be found in each and every moment that we are living. For example, we are brushing our teeth. So whether we are happy while brushing our teeth or not. For example, we are taking our bath. Or we are doing whatever routine work which has been assigned to us. All right. So if we are not happy, we are not enjoying each and every moment that we have got, then we can never be happy in our life. And that's why Beckett writes very clearly and categorically, even though death is inevitable, even though life is short, we have to understand that happiness can be found only in the little moments of life. All right. Then you remember our discussion of Ionesco's place. Now, Ionesco suggests that human beings value words a lot. They argue, human beings think that through words they can understand life, through words they can be happy. But what Ionesco suggests that happiness is not going to be possible. Words are marked by verbosity. Like, for example, human beings speak millions of words in their lifetime. But how many of those words are meaningful? All right. So, unless we beneath the surface of the words, unless we go deeper into words, Kit did, like Ionesco did, we cannot understand the true meaning of. So, in order to understand the true meaning of life, we have to go beyond words and we have to look for aesthetics of silence. Then of course, we can discuss all other playwrights, but I don't think so that is required as of now. What I'll suggest that you just go through the modules which we have already prepared for you, and by the time you come to the last lecture of the last week, I'm confident and I'm also hopeful that you will be able to understand the meaning of absurd, absurdity, and what relevance it has in our life, and whether there is something to learn from these philosophers of the absurd or not. All right. So I think that's enough for today, Murli ji. Huh?
Yes, sir.
Uh,
Sir,
in
also,
yes,
examination is on 25th of April, and 20 students have registered for the examination. Would you like to give some
you're not
tips?
audible, Murli ji. I think there is some connection issue here.
Yeah,
So,
some
sorry,
connectivity.
sorry.
Am I audible, sir?
When is
25th of April, sir.
I cannot hear you, Murli ji.
Yeah, yeah.
Twenty
Some
third
25th of April, sir.
April. All right. So my suggestions of to the students is okay. Okay, I can see it here.
Yeah, you can give some tips on how
So
to prepare
you
for the
see,
examination, sir.
whatever has been discussed in the video lectures. Sorry.
You can give some tips on how to prepare for the examination, sir. What they
Fine.
expect,
Actually,
those
I'm not
things.
able to. There is some connection issue, Murli ji.
Right, sir. Sure, sir.
All right, all right, all right, all right. So I'll just advise my students to first listen to all the video lectures. All right. They can also Google about the playwrights, uh, like whom we have discussed in the course, and basically you can focus on the plays that they have written, all right, or other books. Students can also focus on the short summary of the plays that we have discussed, all right. So they have to focus on short summaries, characters, and also like a bit of Wikipedia would be really helpful, all right. And of course, this is all in addition to the lectures that we have prepared for them. So first they have to listen to all the lectures that we have prepared. I don't think so there will be any issue as far as questions are very simple, so they don't have to worry. All right. So I think Murli ji, we should call it a day.
Definitely, sir. Thank you so much for your valuable time. We will close the
Yes.
session now, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
See you, sir. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. I hope your online time with was worthy of your consideration. I hope you not waste your
Yes,
time.
sir.
So thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Thank
I would
you,
like to
friends,
say
once
the
again.
live
Thank you, Murli ji.
interaction was the live interaction that we had today was really excellent. And Professor Rahul Chaturvedi, sir, has clarified all the queries with great patience and depth. Very informative
Thank
session.
you. Thank
Thank
you.
you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam. So we will end the session now, sir.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. Thank you, Murli ji. How to